Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Look at the fireweed. You can tell it's summer because the beginning of the blossoms will open at the start of summer, and then they'll open all the way up. And when the very last ones open, that tells you that there's 6 weeks until winter, or I think it's the very first snowstorm. So you can see we've got some enjoyable times ahead. Summer in Alaska is awesome. If you want to see the fireweed in bloom all over, you need to come in July and August. I recently had a conversation with an acquaintance who was talking about buying food, stockpiling food from the pandemic from 2 years ago. Did we go overboard? She wanted to know. I have 19 cans of beans left. I have a couple of bags of rice and 3 different kinds of oatmeal. Maybe I went overboard and I didn't need to get any of that. Stocking up isn't about just because you went to the store and there were shortages during the pandemic. That's what caused panic buying, when people would buy whatever they could find. And they didn't really think about, what are the foods that I actually eat? What can I store that I know how to prepare and I'm willing to serve my family? Now, it sounds if after all this time you have these random foods you don't even know what to do with, that's not the food that you should be buying. Does it mean get rid of it? No. What you need to do is figure out how to actually use that food. But if you aren't going to eat it, then you should donate it to the food bank, for example, or to someone that you know that would be happy to have that food to use. This is also a prime example of normalcy bias. I was worried there wouldn't be food, so I bought whatever I could, and now I just shoved it in the pantry, and now things feel normal again. And so I don't need to have any of this around. Normalcy bias is a very slippery slope. You think things have returned to normal, that bad things will never happen again. You are inviting catastrophe down the line. You never know what can happen. Anything can happen, and if you pay attention to what's going on in the world, there are still many very dangerous situations. There are calamities going on, and the future doesn't look as bright and cheerful as it should. Yes, we want to return to normal. We want to feel happy and that everything is smoothed out and we can continue to go and get the things we want. But it doesn't always work out that way, and if you've been to the store lately, the prices are dramatically increased. Depending on how much your gas costs, it could cost you $15 to drive to work or to go to town to get groceries and bring them back again. We need to pay attention to, yes, we don't feel like it's as terrible as it was when the pandemic started and nobody knew what was going on and what we should do, how we should prepare, but that doesn't mean that hard times are no longer ahead of us. It just makes sense to continue to be a prepper, to continue to build your stockpile, but think of it strategically. When you go to the store, look for foods that you're willing to eat. Look through the meals that you normally make for your family. How can you have those things in your pantry, in your freezer? How can you have those for long-term food storage? It may not be exactly what we want, but if we find ways to use the foods that will last longer, then we are ensuring that our family will have enough meals going forward. If you remember back when you couldn't get the things you wanted, even as a prepper, I remember feeling panic, and I just didn't know what could happen. Have we really hit the SHTF apocalypse? And for some people, that is what happened, but for others, things smoothed out again and we can get the things that we want a lot of the time, but maybe you don't have the finances to pay the prices that they are now. It's a blessing for some people. They don't have to worry about what the prices are. They can still go to find any of the special foods they want, but others of us, most of us, have to count our pennies. We have to pay attention to what we buy and figure out how to stretch our dollars. So did we go overboard stocking up on food? Only you know for sure if you did or not. Have you gone through your pantry and made sure that you have utilized the canned foods that you bought? That pay attention to the dates. Yes, it's a best by, use by, sell by date. It's not an expired rotten by date, but it can be. And there's no reason putting foods away for year after year and never using them. You should be stockpiling foods that you're willing to eat, that you rotate and replace. So take this time and go through the foods in your pantry. Make sure that you're getting the ones that are the oldest and pushing them to the front, and then replacing them with newer, fresher foods that you put behind those. I know that I am guilty many times of my foods don't get rotated because I don't have a big old pantry that I can easily move things around. Mine is sort of stash it here, stash it there, and stack it up, and it can be difficult to keep track of those things. So you need to take inventories, pay attention, figure out what you have, and even make a note of things. Where did you put things? How do you plan to use them? And what is the date on them so that you try to rotate them before that date comes around? Many foods will last longer. You just need to look them over. Does your can look bulging? Is anything look leaking or just doesn't look right? If you try to open the can, does it spurt at all? Does anything smell bad, look unfortunate? If it does, then you probably need to throw it away. Don't take a chance eating foods that you are questioning if it's still good to eat, because you don't want to get sick over $1 or $2 worth of food. The mosquitoes are really bad this year, even with my snappies. Same with your packaged and dry foods. Did your package get chewed on? Did it get torn open? Does anything just look stale or doesn't look right? You try to store your foods as airtight as possible in a cool, dark, dry place, and they're going to last as long as possible. But we all make mistakes. We buy things maybe we didn't really like, or we couldn't really use, or we forgot to rotate. That happens. But make it a part of your food storage planning and prepping strategy that you do go through those foods and use them so you get the most out of your food storage and your grocery dollars. Make the most of the time that you have and the opportunities that we have to still stock up on things that we want. It's not a time to panic, but it's certainly not a time to say, whew, I'm glad everything is back to normal, because it sure doesn't feel normal to me when you really think about what it used to be like a few years ago. Leave us a comment if there's ways that you figure out how to rotate some of your food. Have you looked in your pantry and said, wow, I didn't realize I bought so much of that? How did you find a way to use up the foods that you had so that even if they weren't your favorite, you were able to use them and rotate them and maybe replace them with something different going forward? Leave us a comment on how you've achieved some of those goals and challenges. Teddy, come here. Are you tangled up again? Bugs are bad. The bugs are very bad this summer. Make sure you're prepping for your pets. Have the food and supplies that they need. They count on you to do that for them. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.